Hello and welcome to the Stateside Soccer Show. My name is Jordan. With me, as always, is Logan. How are you today, Logan?
We are so back, Jordan. We made it. We've got Leagues Cup going on, Jordan. It feels weird.
And
Like
you're breaking
it's
box office records? It's insane.
I $205 million, baby, on the weekend.
Yeah, actually, they
Yeah.
adjusted it to 211.
Well, look at them.
Look at
Now my
that.
TikTok's wrong.
Six highest opening of all time. So, of course, we're talking
Yeah,
about
Leagues Cup did really well in theaters. I mean,
Deadpool and Wolverine.
unbelievable.
That's
Oh,
Logan. Yeah.
hey, how's it going? Yeah, a lot of people talking to me over the weekend. Went to a movie, bunch of like Deadpool talking to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're one of the Wolverine variants.
I am. Yeah. This
The one
variant
without
knows
hair.
soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have similar abs, but yeah,
Yes,
that's
you
not for
do
this
have
kind of
like the 8-pack going.
content.
Okay, we are talking Leagues Cup, Olympics, All-Star Game, all that good stuff. We're not going to talk much of the All-Star Game because 4-1 to Liga Mekis. So we're going to just kind of breeze past that and say that the skills comp matters more
Yeah,
because
that's what I've heard. Yeah, yeah, that's what you go by, right? That's like the measuring stick.
Well, I'll
Once you
tell you what
beat,
you really go by. You really go by Leagues Cup matters more. And guess what, Logan? There is only one non-MLS team at the top of their group.
Mhm.
One, and that's Atlas in West 8. The rest of
Yeah,
these, MLS came out on top this week in the Leagues Cup.
yeah. Thanks, Houston. Appreciate you
Yeah,
doing magic.
come on. Ruin a good streak.
Right.
Yeah, for some of those, it's like, okay, some of those teams didn't play yet, right? But it is what it is. Just fun to see MLS just all up in the standings there. Because these were some crazy matches that we had this week. Friday kicked everything off. Atlanta versus DC. I was at the movies. I came out of the movies and I was like, man, this was pretty legit. Yeah, DC and Atlanta 3-3. DC winning on penalty kicks, which means they get 2 points because of the way that Leagues Cup is structured. So DC gets 2 points. They top their group above Atlanta and Santos Laguna, just as we drew it up.
Hmm.
Orlando beat Montreal 4-1 at
Of
Inter and
course they
Co
did.
Stadium.
Yeah, we are so back.
Yeah. Orlando
MLS
has
Cup
turned it
winners.
around, so
They have.
looking pretty good. And I guess MLS website has these as like the seed next to it.
Yeah,
Usually it's
like
like
the
Austin
ranking. Yeah.
37 against Pumas 22.
I think I will say it is nice though, because it's like I can see kind of how we rank up against, because it's ranked by the power and position that you're in your
Yeah.
leagues. So
I think
it
from the
helps.
previous year or from because Orlando's not
Yeah.
4, right? So it's
Yeah.
probably from the previous year.
Yeah. So it helps. But
Yeah, it helps you be able to say upset,
right.
right? DC
Upset. Yeah.
upset 35 against Atlanta 17.
Yeah.
Orlando taking care of business against Montreal. Austin, sorry, I gotta apologize. We were not familiar with your game. I think we pretty much said there's no way you're getting out of this group, and you go and beat Pumas 3-2. Like, congrats, Wolf in, as I
Yeah.
say. Seattle beat
Extension.
Minnesota.
I smell it.
Yeah, could you imagine? Oh my God, Austin will lose it. Seattle beat Minnesota 2-0. They will actually play each other again August 24th. They'll probably play again in April next year. But August 24th is when they'll play again for the league points. So maybe a little preview here. We were talking about Minnesota's slide. Here they go. They beat Seattle 2-0. Seattle beats them 2-0 after Seattle kind of got stomped by LAFC. LAFC beat Tijuana 3-0. I was watching that game after the movies. It was a good one for LAFC.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, we had Atlas beat Houston. Boo. We had
Boo.
New England beat Mazatlan, right? 1-0. We had Toronto draw with Red Bull, but win on penalties. So Toronto gets 2 points. We had Philadelphia Union restoring themselves to glory and beating Charlotte 1-0. Miami beat Puebla 2-0. St. Louis beat Dallas 2-1. And San Jose drew with Chivas 1-1, gets the win on penalties. San Jose gets 2 points. Then you have on Sunday NYCFC versus Querétaro. And NYCFC drew with them 0-0, but wins on penalties. So they get 2 points. SKC beat Chicago 2-1 in the battle for the worst teams in the Midwest. And then Portland beat Club Leon 2-1. And that was the week 1 results, or match day 1 results for Leagues Cup. So, Logan, I'm going to ask you a question here. What result maybe surprised you the most, and which result did not surprise you the most out of these?
I mean, kind of looking at what we've experienced over the course of the season, I would say honestly that San Jose beating Chivas was pretty surprising. And I think that would be number one on my list just because I feel like Chivas is always pretty decent in Liga MX. And I think the struggles and turmoil that have been very prevalent in um, San Jose this year. I think, having a new coach come in, firing a coach, having to change kind of the system which you play. You're facing a former player in Cade Cowell who, by one of the worst missed penalties, there was a lot of bad missed penalties this weekend. Um, but yeah, I think ultimately San Jose getting those 2 points against Chivas in this is shock. What did I say? Did I say something wrong?
No, I'm just looking at the match result, the match summary on MLSsoccer.com. Let me tell you, everything happened in this first minute. Look at this. Yellow card, yellow card. A substitution, yellow card. Like, all of this says the first minute.
It was the most action-packed first minute, Jordan. It really shocked me how much happened in that first minute. That's what I was getting to make the point. I will say, whoever, and this is bad because it's probably going after somebody's job here, but MLS's website's a brutal time. There's like all sorts of stuff that's wrong on it. But yeah, no, I think the surprising thing, Jordan, is San Jose coming out with a win. It's a little bit difficult because I think MLS is hosting all of these games. So I think that's where it's tough for the Mexican sides to travel to some of these US or MLS stadiums. But yeah, that was my surprising one, and then one that probably didn't surprise me, I guess. I had to pick. I mean, honestly, I would probably go with Miami beating Puebla, even though it is a Mexican side. Miami's just played so well this season, even without Lionel Messi and Suarez, that everything that they do, it just doesn't shock me anymore. Like, I would not be surprised, Jordan, if they win some Porter Shield, if they make a deep run, uh, you know, compete and try to defend their title. Um, yeah, I think they're the team that, if I had to say, didn't really shock me because, again, I think there were some shocking results, but I mean, I think I know which one you'd probably go with, but yeah, that was probably mine.
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
shocking.
Miami, 8 shots on goal to 2 for Puebla, 16 shots to 13. Um, they had 2-goal, 2-0 win. They were, of course, 42nd ranked against the 23rd rank.
Right.
Just kind of goes to show that those don't really mean anything because of, of course, it's the ranking from last season, and we, of course, have the the Messi magic started at Leagues Cup last year when they were already like last place. So I think if we were reseeding these, Miami would be higher. Um, uh, let's see. If I had to go with one that I think was surprising, I think I do have to go with Austin over Pumas. I just really did not think this was going to be a thing. Austin's been kind of I don't know what you would want to call them, like a back and forth club over its few seasons, right? Um, Austin scored 8 minutes in. They get a second yellow in the 34th minute. Bukhari, he gets removed. Zardes scores in the 45th minute. You get a goal by Avila in stoppage time before it hits halftime. Then you get Jerussi scoring to make it 3-1. You have Martinez scoring, make it 3-2, and them holding on. When Logan, if you look at the score line, 28 shots to Pumas to 6 for Austin. But out of those 28, only 10 on goal and 4 on goal for Austin. So Austin actually just had better chances that actually ended up converting into goals. And just being down a man from 1-0 up and winning that game 3-2. I walked out of the movie theater like, what? They beat Pumas and they were down a man? Like, I was literally talking to my dad like, this is insane. And just really surprised me with how kind of, where are they currently standing in the table?
10th in the West.
10th in the West, right? So they've kind of been at times in the playoffs and right outside the playoffs. And, we've said it before. There's a lot of those Austin fans that have been woof out. I made a joke about being woof in. And, at one point, a couple years ago, they were top 4 of the West.
Mhm.
And they've regressed last year. They're kind of improving, I would say, from last year. But it's just really surprising to me to see them win that game, even though they were home.
Yeah.
Now,
Pumas is really good too.
for one that did not surprise me, I would say San Jose. No, I'm just kidding, obviously. The one that did not surprise me is probably going to sound like I would have to say Philly over Charlotte. I did think that they'd be able to beat Charlotte. It's not a sexy pick to make because it's MLS versus MLS and it's not like the best teams. But like, I'd be lying if I said LAFC. I thought maybe they would win, but I didn't think they'd beat Tijuana like 3-0. So it's one of those things where it's like, oh, like, so I wasn't surprised that they won, but I was maybe surprised by how well they did. So tough for me to say, but like a 1-0 victory for Philly at home over Charlotte, not that surprising. Maybe it would have surprised me a month ago.
Yeah.
But, right now they've kind of been on a little bit more of a hot streak. So that's what I would have to go with.
Yeah, but looking at the results, I mean, there weren't really. I mean, the MLS teams that played each other they weren't really a shock. I guess maybe Toronto or Red Bull, in PKs. What didn't really shock me is DC ended up playing to a 3-3 draw, and then it's 6-5.
That's on brand. That is on brand for both of those teams, by the way. High scoring game, DC scoring like 3 goals, but still not winning the game. Like that is strictly on brand.
Yeah. Now they both been pretty below average, this year. And then the fact that they go 6-5 in PKs and DC United again. I don't think Jordan. Every time that we're excited about DC, it's kind of like, all right, we're excited, something good happens, but it's never great. Like they never have a great result as a result of their successes. And I think Benteke is a huge success, but they just aren't a very good team.
Yeah, and how many times do they restart? Like just since you've been on the podcast, Logan. I mean, it's been like every year.
Yeah.
What I'll say about go ahead.
Sorry, and through Wayne Rooney and like different coaches and like different highs, very, very high and very, very low. And it was like, man, but yeah, go ahead.
What I was going to say is going back to the Chelsea, I mean, not the Chelsea game, the Philly game for a second, and just Baribo scoring again. Why wasn't this guy playing before? I don't understand. We were putting in Chris Donovan when we needed goals instead of Baribo. For some reason, Curtin thought that would be best. I think that is, like, I usually don't criticize him too much, but that I would criticize that. There are times where Ernst Tanner gives him depth players and he doesn't use them. And from what we heard is that maybe he wasn't training as hard originally when he first got over here last year. Okay, but at a certain time, we're hitting skids. We needed to put him in. The only reason he's playing is because we sold Carranza, right? Like
Yeah.
if we hadn't sold Carranza, Baribo's still not playing, and he scored like 7 out of 8 games, right? That is, or 7 goals in 8 games, something like that. So just where was that? That is something that I do put on the coach at times, is that there does seem to be in Philly a miscommunication between the GM and the coach in figuring out why we're not using some of those players we bring in. Now, of course, the players Tanner's bringing in are not like Messi level or Jordi Alba level, but they're depth enough to be able to rotate more than we do. So that's a question I have on why we don't do that. Um, who knows? But now it's looking like a great move. Baribo.
Yeah, huge. I think what you said though is right though. Like ever since we've been covering the league together, and ever since I've been watching the league, I mean, it feels like there are times where Jim Curtin gets so stuck in his lineups that I think he has a hard time. Well, like he's even hesitant to rotate them at times. So it's
Yeah,
like,
well, we had Torres last year,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
We had. I'm even blanking on who we had. We got him from Orlando. He played for us a bit, and
yeah,
then we
Andre
traded.
Perea,
Yeah, and then we
yeah,
traded him to NYCFC or whatever. Like,
yeah, yeah. Andre Perea was,
and he sometimes he comes in and looks good, and then
yeah.
like he wouldn't play, and then comes in for 5 minutes or whatever, and you're like, all right,
Yeah, yeah, and then I mean, I think too, and I mean, we can talk a little bit about Philly too. Is I still think there's some problems. I mean, there's some kind of disconnect between player and coach. I think Jose Martinez is a huge disconnect for me. Like he just brings the vibe down, and he got a yellow card before the match even started. Like you can't continue to have somebody who just continuously is in trouble in the books. Like
I am on the other side of most Philly fans on that, in which I say like, okay, might be time to move on from Martinez. I've never
yeah,
been a big El Brujo fan because I do think some of his antics are unnecessary, and it ends up costing us either giveaways that lead to goals or yellow cards, red cards, right? Like sometimes it's not worth it. Sometimes it was worth it, going to the MLS Cup. That his season then was great and it was worth it, right? Other years, not worth it. And I do think with the way that they're playing right now, and I know they won't because it is like with the way MLS works that you can get into, MLS Cup in the playoffs so easily. They're not going to reboot, but at some point they have to kind of restart and kind of start over for Philly. But who knows? This might be the year they win it all because they'll just like skate in as a 9 and just like go on a run, and you're like,
yeah,
yeah, just like we drew it up, guys. We sold Carranza and we end up winning MLS Cup.
yeah. Yeah, the year that they're not dominant is the year they sneak in and win it. Which, yeah, it would be in total Union fashion. On the road too, not even using their home field to really gain an advantage. But yeah, it is interesting to me. I am interested to see too because they're one of those teams that I always think can have a sneaky tournament like this, where they could be sitting in the finals or the semifinals, and I wouldn't be shocked. Like they didn't have a good starter really, almost like a third or 2/3 of the season haven't been great from them, but they really seem to have turned it on. And I would not be shocked if we're sitting here talking about a Philadelphia Union uh, semifinal against one of these teams. So,
That'd make it 2 years in a row.
yeah.
Um, okay. Let's see. You mentioned Houston blowing that streak that we were on. So there you go.
They actually looked like the better team too. Like I felt like they had more chances. I feel
That's
like they
how it
really looked,
happens.
yeah. And it's Houston, because they again another team that just like what are we doing?
Hot and cold.
Yeah, what do you like? I just don't the Texas teams, man. They're a mess.
Yeah, I mean,
Every
Dallas
single
won.
one of them. Yeah, it's
They've
just
no
weird.
Dallas lost. Sorry, but they were like Dallas was on a roll for a bit in MLS. They lose to St. Louis, which is not great. St. Louis sits 7 points below them in the MLS table. So just kind of talk about going into form here. Uh, I'll say I was maybe disappointed NYCFC had to go to penalties against Querétaro.
Yeah.
Ranked 38.
Yeah.
Now NYCFC is ranked 31, but they've been pretty good this season, NYCFC, that I thought maybe they would be able to do better. I don't know. That was maybe a what I would say a disappointing surprise.
Yeah, they've been playing really well this year. So I think you're right. I think if there was a disappointing match, I think that's one of them. Is the fact that NYCFC couldn't grab 3 points at home, because that's a really tough place to play. So yeah, I mean, looking at, we didn't have very many disappointments for MLS. Like you said, like
Houston,
you opened the
yeah.
show with, like it went our way every single step of the way. And if it continues
Unless
like
you're
this,
Dallas,
yeah,
Chicago, Charlotte, New York Red
yeah,
Bull, Minnesota,
right. But
Montreal,
again, a lot of those teams
Atlanta.
played MLS teams, so it should be interesting. It
Yeah.
should be interesting.
I'll tell you another surprise. I was shocked Portland beat Club Leon.
Yeah,
Not going to sugarcoat it. We've been hard on Portland this season as they like started off really good, then they hit like a crater, and they've kind of bounced back to that. But still, going up against Club Leon, uh, this is not something I anticipated. Like again, if you look at rankings, 12 against the 28, right? And it comes in the 90th minute with Zach McGraw, who scored both of the goals, by the way. If you're wondering who is this new striker named McGraw, no, he's a defender. Scoring both of those goals. It was a pretty even game though, 13-13 on shots, 4-3 on shots on goal, edge to Club Leon. But 3 shots on goal, 2 of them go in for Portland, and it's game over.
yeah. Portland's been back and forth, like you said. Back from the brink of death all the way up to eighth in the Western Conference. And MLS, their big problem has been defending. I mean, they leak goals like it's nobody's business. But yeah, they somehow beat Leon, which is usually one of the top Mexican sides. So I mean, just looking at the standings and looking at their I guess luck. I don't know, like getting a defender to score twice in a game. That's something. But to kind of throw off one of the top teams in Mexico, something's got to be going right. And they've been playing well. Like they've been playing well in MLS. So it's not like a huge shock to me that this is one that did get an upset. And it's so hard to play in Providence. Like no matter what year it is, what time of year it is, like that is a really tough place to play. Maybe one of the toughest in MLS.
Yeah. I walked outside of there once. That's the most I have to say about Providence Park.
Yeah, we should just go one day, you and I.
We should. That was one of the plans originally for me, is to go over there. I instead ended up going to Red Bulls versus NYCFC at Red Bull Arena. But for my 30th birthday, before COVID and everything, the original plan was to either go to Seattle or Portland and see Seattle versus Portland. That got delayed a whole year. Then we weren't sure if we'd be able to fit it in at a certain time of year. So I just told my dad, like, let's just go to New York and see a different stadium. Okay. Like, I don't want to like be celebrating my 30th birthday at 35 and finally being able to get over there. But I walked outside there. For people listening, I did a road trip with my friends Michael and Lizzie back 10 years ago now. So it's been almost 10 years since I walked outside of there. They were then, Logan, only a 3-year-old MLS club.
That's insane.
And we walked, it's like right in the heart of Portland, like just in the middle of a city. It's kind of like built down into it, I believe, too. So like you're walking past, you can kind of look down into the stadium.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Originally, at one point, it was a baseball stadium. Portland's a really nice city. I really liked my time there, which was only like a day, 10 years ago. But I would love to go back. So if you're a Portland Timbers front office person listening to this, feel free to invite me out and pay for my bills. Okay. Anything else about this before we look at the standings?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Standings. NYCFC in East 1 lead with 2 points. Querétaro with 1. Cincinnati with 0, as they have yet to play. East 2, Orlando with 3 points. San Luis with 0. And Montreal with 0. San Luis has not played yet. Miami in East 3 top it with 3 points. Tigres with 0. They have yet to play. They'll play Miami soon. And Puebla, 0 points. East 4, Philadelphia Union lead with 3 points. Cruz Azul with 0. They have yet to play. And Charlotte in third with 0 points. East 5, Revs, New England Revolution, 3 points. Nashville 0. They have yet to play. And Mazatlan, 0 points. East 6, Toronto with 2 points. Red Bull with 1. Pachuca with 0, as they have yet to play. East 7, DC United with 2. Atlanta with 1. And Santos Laguna with 0, as they have yet to play. West 1, Austin with 3 points. Monterrey with 0. Pumas with 0. Monterrey has yet to play. West 2, San Jose with 2 points. Chivas with 1. And LA Galaxy with 0. They have yet to play. West 3, St. Louis with 3 points. Juarez with 0. They have yet to play. And Dallas with 0. West 4, Kansas City with 3 points. Toluca with 0, as they have yet to play. And Chicago with 0 points in third place, just as we suspected. West 5, Portland with 3 points. Colorado with 0, as they have yet to play. And Club Leon with 0. West 6, Seattle with 3. Nakasa with 0. They have yet to play. Minnesota with 0. West 7, LAFC lead with 3 points. Vancouver with 0, as they have yet to play. Tijuana with 0. West 8, Atlas lead with 3 points. RSL with 0, as they have yet to play. And Houston with 0, as they lost to Atlas. So pretty good spot so far for most of these MLS clubs, unless if you happen to be the second MLS club in a group. So unfortunate there. We have some games coming up, though, that we want to highlight here. So today, Monday, the day that we're recording this, is the day that there is a break in the schedule. And tomorrow, Tuesday the 30th, these games start to kick back off, and I'm going to read them to you. 7 o'clock. Free on Apple TV. San Luis versus Montreal, as Orlando will get the bye for Matchday 2. Pachuca and Red Bulls at 8 o'clock. Minnesota and Nakasa at 9 o'clock. Monterrey and Austin at 9 o'clock. Then at 10:30, LAFC versus Vancouver. On July 31st, we have Charlotte and Cruz Azul at 8. Santos Laguna and DC United at 8. That is free and also on FS1. Dallas and Juarez at 9. Nashville and Mazatlan at 9. Tigres and Puebla at 9:30. That is free on Apple TV and also on Unimas. And San Jose and LA Galaxy free on Apple TV at 10:30. Then we have games on August 1st. Cincinnati and Querétaro. RSL Atlas. That one's at 9 o'clock. Cincinnati is at 8 o'clock. RSL Atlas is also free on Apple TV. Toluca and Chicago at 9 o'clock. That's free and on Unimas and FS1. Portland, Colorado at 10:30. And that is not free or on FS1. That's just on Season Pass. Let me take a break there, because the next break day is the 2nd. So what I just read from the 30th to the 1st, Logan, is what I call Match Day 2. And it's where some of those clubs that did not play in the first match day are now playing. So I want to now give you the opportunity to tell me the games that you wanted to highlight on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, like as best ones to watch or what to watch for.
Yeah, so I mean, looking at it, some interesting matchups. I think now, I mean, I never thought I would say this, but now you present an interesting one with Austin and Monterey. It's going to be at Q2. Q2 again. It's pretty hard to play in when they are playing well. Monterey is one of the best teams in this competition. Um, so I'm interested to see how Austin stacks up. There could be some momentum there. And again, once you get into a tournament, it's a little bit different where I think you could have a little bit of a upset here if Austin comes out, maybe grabs the early goal or, takes this into the half 0-0. But this could also blow up in the other direction. But I don't know. I think for some reason that one really sticks out to me. There are a lot of Mexican fans, as far as Liga MX fans, that are also Austin fans. So it's always interesting to see the Mexican clubs go up against Austin or any of the Texas teams, even the California teams, because of how heavy and how heavily influenced our fans are of those clubs by Mexican soccer. So I know there's a lot of ties to the Mexican culture there. I think it'll be an interesting match between Austin and Monterrey. They're the giants, besides maybe Tigres usually, as far as Liga MX is concerned. So we'll see what Austin has. And I think I picked that one mostly because, you look at some of the other matchups, maybe like a Red Bull and Pachuca, but some of the other matchups aren't as intriguing to me. A lot of our teams that are struggling are playing really good Mexican teams, or teams in our league that are doing well are playing some of the lower half of the Mexican league. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that one. Austin and Monterey. I never thought I'd say that. I never thought I'd put Austin in game of the week.
Oh man, Austin fans are like, what did we ever do to you?
Guys.
Look, I feel like I'd be dumb if I didn't say Tigres Miami. I'm sorry. I think that is like the pick of the games on. That's on Friday though, so I can't say that one actually yet. So sorry, spoiler.
How dare you?
Spoiler on my pick for that one. Let's see. If I had to pick a match from this set, let's go with. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Santos Laguna, DC United. DC finds himself top of the group with 2 points, though. Not 3 points, 2 points because of the draw with the penalty shootout. Santos Laguna has yet to play. DC can put themselves in a very good spot if they just do what they just did. Draw and get a penalty shootout win. Hell, even if they probably just draw and lose the shootout, they'll get a point and be with 3 points. Then that will have, Santos Laguna with 2 and Atlanta still with 1. So they can set themselves up pretty good here for a chance to move out of their group, DC United, which I remember you told me they're not going to do. So they have a good shot here. So if they can play this game right, which if they play it the DC United way, where Benteke scores like a late goal, they'll either win or draw that game. Then they'll be in a good spot. But, I just don't know if they'll be able to do it, Logan. I'm kind of worried that they're just going to end up, getting beat pretty bad against Santos Laguna. But it has a possibility to be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, no, that's a good pick. I like that. I was struggling with this group of games because there's a lot of teams. One I don't really know a whole ton about.
Yeah.
But especially obviously on the Mexican side. So, but again, like I said, a lot of even our lower half teams are playing some lower half teams, or it's that vice versa where the top teams are playing the lower half and bottom teams are playing the top half. Like it just, I don't know. I would never shout an MLS matchup between some of these teams. I'd be like, yeah, no, don't watch that. San Jose LA Galaxy, that'll be rough.
Yeah, why is San Jose ranked 25 to LA Galaxy's 41?
Last season, right?
Yeah, but did San Jose finish above LA Galaxy?
Yes, maybe.
I don't recall.
Did they?
I wouldn't think so, but they did make the playoffs. Did LA miss them?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure LA didn't make the playoffs last year.
Yeah. I think that may have been a down year. That's
right. They were 13th last
year. Okay.
San Jose snuck in.
Okay, so for those matchups on Friday and Saturday and Sunday and Monday, they will have Monday games. So we'll see how this shakes out, I guess. Our matchups here. August 3rd, Tigres Miami. That's already my pick for the matchup. I spoiled that one. That's at 8 o'clock. Monterrey and Pumas at 10. That's also free and on Univision. Vancouver Tijuana. That's also free and at 10 o'clock. Then on the 4th at 4 p.m., we have Atlanta and Santos Laguna. 8 p.m., we have Orlando San Luis, Pachuca Toronto, and Philly Cruz Azul. Those are your 8 o'clock games. Philly Cruz Azul is free and on Unimas and FS1. August, that is on, August 4th. Also on August 4th, we have at 9 o'clock St. Louis and Juarez. Chivas and LA Galaxy at 10:30. It's an interesting one as well. Seattle and Acasa at 10:30. That is free on Apple TV. August 5th, we have Cincinnati, NYCFC. That's free. Houston, RSL. That is free at 9 o'clock. Club Leon in Colorado at 9 o'clock. Toluca, SKC at 9 o'clock. That is also on Apple TV for free, Unimas and FS1. And then on Tuesday, we have August 6th, we have New England and Nashville at 7:30. That's also free. So we'll probably be talking about that one next week. And we'll probably be more previewing the round of 32 because we'll have a good amount of teams that we know are for sure into that at that point. So Logan, out of these matchups, which ones do you have as we can pick out a couple because this is a lot of games here. So I already picked Tigres and Miami, but what say you?
I guess I can kind of stick into that Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we can flip the page over, I guess. But if I'm looking at that one, it's not an MLS match. This would be Monterrey and Pumas. I think both good Mexican sides, I think, are typically two of the ones that you think about when you think about Liga MX. I think playing on American soil, playing each other at Q2 Stadium, I think that atmosphere has got to be electric. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that would be a really good matchup. We get to see a Liga MX matchup here in the United States, which we don't typically get to see. I think that's a whole lot of fun. So yeah, that would be kind of like that first group, kind of sticking in with that Saturday.
Interesting. If I had to pick out another game here, let's look at like maybe the Monday and Tuesday games, right? Since we'll be recording on Monday probably, and it'll be a little tight to really talk about those games by the time that the episode gets up. I'm going to say one that really intrigues me a lot is Cincy NYCFC. I think that's a very interesting matchup to see how they can get out of there. NYCFC have the 2 points from, beating Querétaro in penalties. But Cincy has yet to play. They'll be playing against Querétaro on the 1st. So we'll see how they start getting their points going. What do you think is the best thing to do, Logan? Like, are you happy if you're NYCFC because you played the first match day, then you had the midweek off, and then you play the weekend? So you're only playing 2 games in a week? Because if you're Cincy, you're playing on the 1st and then you're playing on the 5th. Like that's, I think, a little tougher.
Yeah, I think I would want a gap. I think I would want the middle game and like the bye in between, because I think like I would love to play the first week, skip the second week, and play the third, because then you also know, like
what you need. Yeah,
like your fate. Whereas like like you said with Cincinnati, they're like, okay, play catch up. Or I'm guessing there'd be other teams that would maybe play like the second, third, or first and third, or the first and second, and not play the third. So then you don't have any control over the final the final day. So yeah, that is interesting, because I guess you don't really think about that, because most tournaments that we're used to, group stage, there's 4 teams. So at least some of the big tournaments that we cover. But yeah, that is an interesting. And I guess I didn't really think about that. I would think that most teams would want that second game off,
yeah,
because You get rest.
You get rest. You know what you need in the match day 3.
Mhm.
You're not starting your tournament late and then having 2 quick games. That could be a bonus for NYCFC going up against Cincy, right?
Yeah.
Since he's been kind of in a tougher stretch anyway. So I mean that could make a difference.
Right.
All right, I think it's time we turn the page to the Olympics. Dun 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 dun. Well, I don't know. Can we get sued for that? So let's
If we're good enough.
Okay. Yeah. USA, we had talked about it before, I think. It lost to France, the men. They end up beating New Zealand 4-1. They now go up against Guinea next to see if they can advance, but they're in a good spot, USA, after maybe losing to France in a pretty rough game. They go out there and then end up playing against New Zealand, and we'll see how that goes. But pretty good bounce around. I actually think I read too that it was the most goals that we've ever scored in an Olympic match for the men.
Might be the most goals that the U.S. men's national team has scored this year.
True.
Ever.
We had
Together
Mahalovic,
combined.
Mahalovic scoring a penalty in the 8th minute, Zimmerman in the 12th, Buzio in the 30th, Paxton Aronson in the 58th, and then Randall of New Zealand made it 1 goal for them in the 78th minute, while France, it took them until the 75th minute to beat Guinea. So that might show that Guinea might be actually tougher than we're thinking, right? They're going to be going up against the USA on the 30th. That's tomorrow. We'll see how the USA do. But there's a shot here. If France beats New Zealand, and USA would just need a point to be able to move on, or even just have better goal differential.
Yeah, they just have to have a similar result.
Yeah. So, hey, looking pretty good. I'd say. But we've been here before with Copa America where we thought we looked pretty good after one match. So we'll see how we go from there. Yeah. But Olympic-wise, as a whole, Group A, France, USA in the move-ons, in the knockout stage spots. New Zealand, Guinea are currently out. Group B has Argentina and Ukraine in the knockout round spots, with Morocco and Iraq going out. But guess what? Those teams all tied with 3 points. Group C, Spain currently has 6 points. Egypt with 4. Dominican Republic with 1. Uzbekistan has already been eliminated with 0 points. In Group D, Japan, Paraguay, Mali, and Israel. And that's 6, 3, 1, and 1 on the points. Japan has advanced. Spain has advanced. That's all we know so far for advancing. The knockout stage will start August 2nd for the men. Semifinals August 5th, with the gold medal match on August 9th. So next Friday already, we'll be done with the Olympics.
Looks like we've got a date with Argentina, should we win.
Just like you would want. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Because we're not going to win the group unless France just has an epic collapse against New Zealand for some reason. So yeah, it sounds like if we get past the group stage, we're not locked to play Argentina, because all those teams have 3. So
yes, true.
That could go all sorts of different directions.
We could end up playing Iraq, Morocco, Ukraine, or Argentina.
Right. So that'll be interesting.
Iraq. Okay.
Yeah.
And I say that because they're bottom with -1 goal differential. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Women's tournament. Let's move the page over there, because guess what? You want to say
They're so bad.
You've been saying we're so back. We are. Emma Hayes has immediately corrected the U.S. women's team, and they're playing pretty well.
Yeah.
That's not the only drama going on over there, Logan. Have you heard of the country called Canada and what's going on with them?
Yeah, Jordan. Something about machines in the sky or something. I don't know. Blue sky. No.
Drones.
Drone show. They got a drone show. That's cool.
Yeah. Did you see it at Comic-Con? They had Galactus coming out.
I did see that. Yeah. That
No,
was
but
Canada's their national team.
yeah, they were trying to get the they were trying to spy on San Diego
U-23.
College or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty big.
Yeah.
This goes back to the John Herdman era when he was the women's coach. Because remember, he started as the women's coach, jumped to
Yep.
the men's team, and now is Toronto FC. It sounds like he may have been the one instituting this. We don't really know. There's been rumors that he was behind it. I don't really know. But they had a 6-point deduction. So they won both of their games. They have 0 points. Now, Canada has appealed this, and it's going to the Emergency Court of Appeals at the Olympics. And I think they're hearing it on the 30th, or they heard it today, and they'll make their judgment on the 31st. So by the time the 31st rolls around, we'll know if Canada is actually going to see that 6-point deduction or not. Some of the players have come out. I think like Sinclair of Canada have come out saying, we never knew this was going on. And I do believe the players would not know this is going on. This would be something the coaches are watching to try to do that, and they would try to tell them, we watched film, and this is what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think the players would actually know.
Right.
It's just unfortunate, especially if it is Herdman. Maybe that is why they were so good. The men. The women have always
Yeah.
been good for Canada.
Right.
And it just seems like maybe they didn't actually ever need to do this. So it just seems weird. And I'm wondering, Logan, do you think he could get in trouble and get suspended through MLS as well?
Yeah, I think because it's all associated with FIFA, and FIFA seem to be the one that can come down hard on anybody and any entity.
Yeah,
Um,
real quick. I want to specify FIFA, even though it's an Olympic tournament, FIFA does run the
yeah,
tournament, and they are the ones to have docked the points. So, as Logan's point here is, FIFA, of course, has say over stuff in world football, which means they can do stuff through MLS as well. So, there is a real possibility Herdman could get in trouble here, I guess. Um, Same thing with like basketball. It's run through
mhm,
FIBA, but it is an
yep.
Olympic thing. So that's why it wasn't the Olympic IOC committee who deducted it, it's FIFA.
Yeah, and this could. I mean, it really could. It could get him suspended in MLS. It could get him fired in MLS. He could get banned and not be able to coach anymore. Um, Canada could see some repercussion or some consequences from this. Um, I don't know if they'd punish him going forward too much because they're automatically qualified for the next World Cup. But I could definitely see them being disqualified in other tournaments. So yeah, I mean, they'll take this very seriously because every sport's had scandals, but I think when something like this happens, soccer hasn't had really this in a long time where we've really heard about like this is Spygate kind of stuff like NFL had to go through with Bill Belichick and the Patriots. So
Wait until they find out Herdman was also deflating soccer balls.
yeah, I know he'll be shocked. Yeah, deflating soccer balls, Jordan, and like they got no. I was gonna make
And
a
that's a
murder.
joke, by the way, guys. I don't need anybody coming at me
Yeah,
with like a cease and desist.
yeah,
It was a
yeah,
joke. I don't
yes,
actually know any of that stuff.
yeah. No, he wasn't deflating soccer balls, Jordan. He was just filling up the drones.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
topping them off with electric.
he Herdman did come out, Jordan, and say that he didn't know this was going on. So
Yeah,
yeah, right. The head coach always knows
interesting.
what's going on. Yeah, it's just
Allegedly he did, but we have to keep saying that. Allegedly
yeah,
he knew. Maybe he says he
yeah.
didn't know. So at that point, it's like, who would have been in charge of this? That's what I
We
want to
were
know.
wondering why Bruce Arena was fired. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
He was helping John Herdman.
Man,
No, um, but yeah, no, I don't. Jordan, this is really bad for Canada. Um, Women's team, men's team. It sounds like this could really get them into a lot of trouble because he touched both of them, and like he didn't just stop because he switched to the men's side. So yeah, this could be it'll be interesting. And then you do start to wonder and it sucks for the Canadian players that they are a good team, I think, but they're also going to have that asterisk now, with like, can they do this without cheating?
feel sorry for the Olympians that have made it their whole life's work to get there, and they get a 6-point deduction because of
Mhm.
something a coach or an entity have done. So that's rough on them. Let's get to the good news, though. Good news is the women of Group B, USA, have already advanced 2 games, 2 wins, 7 goals, 1 given up, 6 goal differential, 6 points. They're in the knockout stage as they beat Zambia and Germany. The Germany one was the real test for me. Of course, Zambia, especially, it was like 3. This is how I was watching the game, Logan. I was watching the game. I end up going to flip laundry.
Mhm.
And I go as soon as we score 1-0. I'm like, all right, perfect. Let me go down, flip this. I come up and it's 3-0. I'm like, what? I had to rewind the recording and I was like, let's see these goals. And just some really bad defending by Zambia, really, in my opinion. And it's 3-0.
Yeah.
Then Zambia gets a red card, and you're like, well, that's wrapped up for the women. And it was. The Germany game was a back and forth affair. We score, Germany scores, we score, and then we just took off. And that's what I wanted to see. And I think, we have some young players on the team. I had mentioned how we hadn't scored a lot going into the tournament. This is Emma Hayes' first tournament. There's a lot of question marks going into this, but they're doing it, man, and it's amazing. They are back on top again. Like, now I'm sitting here thinking I had lowered my standards of maybe we don't win the gold medal, but now I'm like, we're winning the gold medal.
Yeah. Yeah, easily. And Mallory Pugh looks good. Sophia Smith looked really good.
Yeah.
Um,
Rodman,
Lynn
Trinity
Williams,
Rodman was
Rodman
good.
looks
Yeah.
great. Yeah, and people were so hung up on Alex Morgan not making the team. Would this be a distraction for the team? It was time, and you and I have talked about this when we've talked U.S. Women's National Team. Is that it's time for a reset, and it's time to bring in the new generation, right? We've always talked about the people that were of our generation, and I actually had somebody ask me about this at work. Like, do you remember when the women's national team played and all those players? Like, yeah, like Megan Rapinoe, right? You had Hope Solo, like you had all these girls that were just dominant, and then we had kind of this gap, right, where the world started to catch up to us, and that's still happening. Um, and then, but I think now you've got the changing of the guard. Like, you've got the Sophia Smith, who's probably one of the most exciting. Her, between her and Mallory Pugh and maybe Trinity, I would say. But those three, man, they absolutely kill it, and they're great role models. They're younger. I think a lot of young women players and men's players watch them, and they're idols. Like, they've really taken this stage by storm, and they seem to be a really likable group and close knit group, which the U.S. has always been. The women's national team, Jordan, I've always felt like they've always been really close with one another. I always felt like they are much more tight knit, like that they were friends on and off the pitch. Whereas sometimes the U.S. men's national team, you just don't see that closeness and that tight knit. Um, and I think that in part is because the U.S. women's national team, they play together for so long, whereas the U.S. men's national team, they've not played together for so long. So I think it's pretty cool. Whenever you get women's national teams starting to play again, Jordan, it's really exciting.
Yeah. It's just something about this team that I, you know, um, very excited about. Well, we had the World Cup. What was that, last year?
Yeah, because it
Yeah,
was the yeah
it was, right? Yeah. So,
yeah because the off
um,
year, yeah.
and a little disappointing. And then here we go now with we're back on top. It feels great. I love this team. That they always go out there and try their best. And we got a coach who I was familiar with for coaching Chelsea women's teams, and big name. It's great. Hopefully the men, hopefully the men can pick it up now at
Hopefully
some
they can
point
find a
here.
coach. Maybe Emma can coach both.
Well, let me
They
tell
kind
you,
of play in alternating years.
there's a lot of fired Chelsea coaches, so they could get a
Yeah,
Chelsea coach. They wanted to.
Well, Thomas Tuchel,
Jose Mourinho.
little Jose.
No, my God, that would be awful.
Please don't. No,
That
gosh.
would be awful.
Could you imagine having to watch a Jose Mourinho Olympic or Pro Cup team?
Oh my God. Just the
Seriously though,
circus
can we
that would
just
bring.
borrow Emma? Like when they're not playing in 2026, can we just borrow her?
Why not? She
Bring
she
her back.
borrowed the set piece coach from Copa America.
Why
She
can't
brought
we?
him over.
Right. Why can't we? We won't use drones, we promise.
Yeah. Oh my God, that'd be awful if we find out we were using drones and we just sucked at Copa America.
Yeah, or we were shooting their drones down with our drones.
Yeah. Oh boy. So yeah, we have look, US women will be through. They don't have to worry about the next game. A plus there. That's about it for this week though. A little lighter than the full MLS slate because you get Leagues Cup and you only got a few matches so far. Not everybody's played. You
They're
got the
spread out pretty well.
Olympics. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got some good stuff going on here. But next week, look, I would love to be able to record an episode on the next day off, which I think is Friday, and just kind of recap those. I don't think we're getting to that. We're both very busy people. So we'll be back Monday and just kind of recapping everything we can and previewing what's to come after that, and start looking at those teams like the Crew and Club America who are sitting off on the sidelines waiting to find out who their opponents are going to be. So hopefully we'll have some answers to that on Monday. Thank you all for watching and listening along. You can follow us at Stateside Show on all of our social medias, stateside show@gmail.com. Thank you once again. We'll catch you next time.